Hello everyone, welcome back to the Aquarium Project YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning in, I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. But yeah, aside from that, don't think I had too much else exciting news to report basically. Make sure to check out our podcast feed, that'll be left in the top pinned comment on this video. 3 Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast is a good laugh, so listen to that. That's linked below. But yeah, aside from that, we'll just we'll get right into it with my unpopular aquarium opinion for today. So what I wanted to talk about today is something that you'll see quite often talked about on forums and Facebook groups and all that kind of thing, and it's something that people seem to not think through that hard, in my opinion. So a lot of the time when you're talking about what sort of size tank does something need, or what sort of size tank should I get, you'll get jumped on instantly when you're asked about people saying, oh yeah, it's all about the footprint's the most important. So that's like the length times the width, and not like discounting the height. And yes, that does definitely apply, and that is definitely true. If we're thinking about the fish, they will definitely prefer greater floor space over greater height, if that makes sense. But it does forget one thing, and that is it doesn't need to be an either or. You can definitely have both. And what I think, and what I always encourage people to think about and say and do in that, is extra height, especially like we're talking about display aquariums here. Extra height is so important, and it will get so much more out of the tank. Because if you think about it, the height, or the front sort of window, if you will, is how we see our aquariums and our fish and our plants and all that. It's kind of the window into the aquarium. So having, like, this is a good example here. Having this tank here that is very short, but has a big footprint, compared to this one that's a bit more, well, it's longer, but it's much more tall relative to the length, if that makes sense. So what that does is that gives us a lot more sort of space to look into the aquarium, and a bit more of a viewing area, which of course is going to be better for when you're looking at your fish, trying to enjoy them, trying to watch your fish, look at your plants and that. This aquarium here is a standard US 75 gallon tank, but look how tall it is. It's much taller than your standard 75 gallon tank would be. It's like 75 centimeters tall or something. So what that does is that allows us much more room to look into the tank and look into the aquarium and really kind of see the fish. Something else that we often forget about as well is kind of how an aquarium will layer, in terms of how the fish will kind of interact with given extra height. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you've got all this extra height, what it does is it allows the fish to kind of like swim above and below each other and give more depth into the aquarium. So your fish will be able to like go above and below each other and like zip up and down and all this kind of thing. And I think it's something that we really don't think about that much in the hobby. Being able to have that extra depth is really cool, because it is just so different, and that's the kind of important thing, is that it's different. As I said, normally everyone will just say, oh yeah, just do a short tank, it's the same as a big tank. But I just really think that does miss out on so much value that you can get out of your aquarium. Having that extra height, I can't recommend it enough. Particularly for a display aquarium. I'd go as tall as you possibly can, and you'll really get as much as you can out of it. The other thing I really like to do when it comes to an aquarium, is when we're talking about the height, is using plants. You can really use plants in a real different way, which I think gives you a lot more sort of interest and intrigue out of the aquarium. Something like a stem plant, or, well, we'll start with the stem plant. Just normal stem plants kind of are going to max out at, like, you know, maybe 20 centimeters before they start to hit the top of the water, or get too big for the tank and start to look funny. But imagine if you had a plant like you had ambulia, for example, something real common, real easy, but you had ambulia that was like 70, 80 centimeters tall, like went all the way up and then flopped over and kept growing. How awesome and how fantastic would that be? It is really something that is not common and something that we don't always see. And I think it is such a fantastically underrated sort of way of keeping an aquarium and method of sort of providing a cool display, if that makes sense. Having a big tall aquarium really is a cool way to get something different out of your aquarium, and it just gives you so much more to play with, so much more room to play with, and obviously more height to play with. So what I would just really encourage you, if you're at all kind of considering, maybe what aquarium can fit in this space or what custom options we have, really think about playing with that height. It's not something that you have to do, of course, like, do whatever you want, but in my opinion, it's something that we really don't sort of think about that much and really don't make the most of. I'll show you this one over here. Obviously, if you listen on the podcast, sorry, you're not going to be able to hear, but see, but so this aquarium here is like a real square tank. So I think it's like roughly 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters by 60 centimeters or something. That might be wrong, but something like that. But it's really tall and it gives so much of a different look. Like, for example, what you could do is just put like a forest of bamboo, just like lucky bamboo growing out all over it, and have it all branching out the top, and that will give you such a cool sort of environment. And you'd be able to see some, like maybe just pack it full of pea puffers or something, and you'd get such cool sort of behavior out the fish, and I think it would really make a really effective and really stand out. I'm saying really a lot, aren't I? Sorry, I haven't been recording that much recently. I feel like I'm out of touch. But yeah, like it would make a really stunning and different display that would be a great centerpiece to our home. And I cannot recommend it enough. I think it is something that we don't give enough credit within the hobby. Is really playing with that height. And of course, I do want to make it clear, of course, the footprint is important when we're talking about what the fish need in that. So you will want to make sure that your fish have enough space to swim around in that, in their environment with the floor footprint. But you can have that footprint and then just extend the height a little bit more and really start to play with that, because I think it really is something that we don't do enough of, and you will get a lot out of it, I'm sure. Thank you guys very much for watching. So that's kind of my thoughts about playing with the height of an aquarium, because it just is something we don't talk about enough, and it really does make a big difference. I find having a display aquarium with some good height is such a stunning sight, and it is something different and gives you a different dimension to play with. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Definitely, if you've got a really tall tank or something, let me know. I'd love to see it. Send me some pictures. But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you've liked and subscribed and everything. That would really help the channel out. But yeah, thank you guys very much, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.